Good morning, good morning, good morning. Drew here. Let me go get my commander's gear. All right. So, here's the situation. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about the goal of what we're going here for, right? So we have approximately 5 years to set up as much foundation for Infinity United to like sprout out of. Now I talked to you guys a little bit about the reality time quake, right? So everybody obviously knows what an earthquake is. It's where the earth moves, it shakes, it rumbles. So right now, we're at, like I said, I could tell you how it works, but truth is that the universe is just, it's a strange place. And there's all these unseen like factors that are all around us. Invisible sound, invisible energy, light, darkness, the power of lies versus truth. There's spiritual factors at play. But what I intend to do, like I said, is a maneuver called the reality time quake. Okay? Or a time reality quake. And for the next 5 years before, so remember, I got that foolproof software on the moon. Okay? This is the full login. Like I said, the registration, following the family planting, following the job mecca, following the exploration grid, following the sport array, following the boarding house sign up, or boarding school, following actually Infinity House is up here. Infinity House, so all of Infinity United will be accessible to you through that registrar. Okay? And so what I intend to get you is that software. Okay? I'm going to set up the grid. I'm going to have my, like I said, it takes an incredible amount of, data houses, data factories, they're called. It takes an incredible amount of power. Like I said, we're talking about every single person on the planet logging into the same superstructure. Okay? It's the only way to keep it organized. I'm not here to, and there I got my Einstein hair going on. It's the only way to keep it organized. But like I said, should we have enough believers, and like I said, I'm going to display the message. Basically, when I get up to the moon, what I'll do is I'll commandeer all the satellites to all the TVs in the world. And we will display the message of truth. Which is basically Infinity United is here. Right? So we can like prepare ourselves for the next 5 years. Meaning preparing the environments, preparing with electricity, preparing with internet access, preparing with housing, preparing with like I said, just underlying structure. So so there's this pivotal point in time during the unveiling of the new software, right? And you can just go on Google Play or you can go to the App Store. The problem is that like Africa and like certain places on the earth, they don't even have internet access. Okay? So what a reality time quake is. It is an attempt to prove a theory of mine. And basically, like I said, so it has happened before. I have a current civilization who is many, many, many years in the future. They're a different dimension of Earth. Okay? In which I proved and created the system. Okay? And, like I said, so in order for it to work, we have to have, like I said, so everybody's gonna sign up at the same time. So I introduced the new energy. It's like, it has to do with like energy factors as well as like electrical transmitters. So like everybody on Earth is like super excited about this system. So the Earth has like a fucking aura of like floating excitement. And then when I introduce the system, now everybody's got like it planned out on their phone what they're gonna do. And like theoretically, what we can achieve here is be warped into the future. Okay, so it will. So everybody in the whole planet, the Earth is like I say, it's dying right now. The Earth is dying right now because like I said, so there's Mother Earth. You got Mother Earth right here. She is a living organism. And we are sentient beings that share her spirit. Okay? And so like I said, it involves her energy as well. So we're a beating heart. We have the energy of sentience. There's all these different energy like factors that go into making a time reality quake. But basically, if we can outfit the world with, like I said, if I'm thinking 80% might be enough to get it to do it. But like I said, in my most recent timeline, we went ahead and I did a reality quake, but it was a lot easier because I had commandeered all of the satellites. Okay? And it was also in a dimension in which I had all this shit pre-orchestrated. Now this is different because this dimension here is completely unaware of who I am. Okay? So like that's the situation. So Infinity United, like I said, it is my gift from God to you. It is the government, the civilization, the New World Order. It's like New America. And we got 5 years to set the groundwork for it so that when I introduce that system, everybody on the planet can sign up at the same time. And hopefully we can cause a reality time quake and warp about 8 years in the future. It'll be a mirror glass event. And like I said, that's the goal. Infinity United, I am, like I said, I'm still deciding my name. I'm originally named Drew Bednars. So I don't, like I said, one love to the Bednars family. I am the last remaining male heir of my family. But like I said, I'm kind of, like I said, I represent not only this planet, but all the planets here. So, like I said, like I wanted to do really was rename myself Juno Jetruvian. And it's the name that came in intrinsically. It's intrinsically in my spirit. But technically, my title is Just Drew. Like I said, as I said, Celestials name their worst kid, Drew, usually, and then they go ahead and just always like they know that this dude learns the hard way, right? That's like how they treat him. They're like, that's my worst spawn. He's gonna be a hard-headed fucking asshole. And so they knew that the Son of God would come from like this lot of people named Drew. So like when I come up here and I'm like, yeah, I'm Just Drew. I evolved into Just Drew. The Just Drew. But when I get up into like, actually sitting in that chair, I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm Just Drew. And I'm sitting across the table from somebody named Just Drew. So yes, Drew is my name, but there was a reason for it. They were trying to fulfill prophecy. Anyway, so like they would torture the Drews. They would torture the Drews until they learned the lessons that they had to learn. Back in it was 2017. 2017, I took my first oath. And, it was to never commit a sin again. And, I tell you what, the journey, is incredible. Incredibly hard. It's incredibly hard out here to stay morally righteous. But it can be done. And like I said, all we really need right now is people to step up and help organize this stuff. Let's get as much of it done. So all we have to do is get it registered. Like I said, at that point that we might be able to do the reality time quake, everybody is going to be registering everything that they do for the next 5 years. So if you made a fucking boarding school for that middle school area, or if you made a housing complex for it, catalog it as complete. Okay? And if you made a series of obstacle courses, mark them on the grid. Details matter. All that stuff is laid out for you inside of lifestyles. Whether it's hiking trails or obstacle courses or river runs or treehouse or animal related. We do small pet parks of different animals. Like I said, if it's animal related or factory related or history related, all your different tour, if it's riddle hunt related. Now, I already have the software for Riddle Hunt, so do not worry about that. Okay? That's, we deck out all, historical landmarks and, as well as, old libraries, as well as pretty much every public, lure point has Riddle Hunt inside of it. Which is basically explore the building, type stuff. It's called Riddle Hunt. It's a huge, it never goes away. So, like I said, we don't need to add that on there. All we'll have to do is follow instructions for that. Okay, on this building here, put in these QR codes here, and it'll already be done. But yeah, it's pretty much like up 2 stairs and look to your left. In between that crack, you'll see a cleft, and then it'll ask you what minor was that? That's your classroom. And then all of a sudden you'll finish walking around the building. You're like, there's 2B right there. and then that's where you'll find your next QR code, and it'll be like, "Thank God that you made it, Saint James obituary," you know, and then you go down to the morgue of the old church, and then at the end of it, you find like an old scripture or something like that. And like I said, that's just a little bit how old church riddle hunt works. We also do like I said, we also, so during this process, we are going to be learning about a spirit whom I have named Etua. But like I said, there is no real name for Mother Earth, but just we're going to be introducing new ways in which we can become one with Earth. Like I said, I think it should be common practice to have at least sanctuaries. I like the silt patch. The silt patch does wonders for me. I always go barefoot. The wets, and like I said, we can, even if it takes misters to make sure that it's silty all the time and nice and wet for anyone who wants to dip their feet in at a little sanctuary seance. Like I said, it's like I shouldn't have to go, you know, to check in with the pastor in order to go get a quick word with Mother Earth. So this is all the stuff that we can set up. It's all the stuff that we should be setting up. This is you. This isn't the government doing this, right? If I ask the government to do this for you guys, it will not get done. Okay? Now I sit here and I tell you, you know, what's coming. And you know, I just can't get this message out fast enough. And I need you to listen. But like I said, I'm going to be doing this for the next 5 years. So it's like not that big of a deal. The more that we get set up, the easier that fucking it is to fucking put into the system, and the higher chance we have of creating a time quake. Okay, so the more stuff that we plug into the system so that it can organize it, all those electrical fields are gonna be like bouncing. It's crazy, dude. So we gotta plug in everything at the same time to the fireproof system of Infinity United. And that's it. Like I said, if only 60% of the Earth does it, it's not. We're talking about the entire reality of the surrounding of the Earth. All right, so it's we're gonna try it. Theoretically, it's possible. And Infinity United is the best place you want to live. I wouldn't see why you wouldn't want to warp to an end result. It's an 8-year leap. And pretty much by the end of it, we're already playing. We'll wake up and already have our cyborg sets and our Scientifica set up. So, but we have 5 years to prepare. That means we have to get as many of these like laboratories set up. We have to get zoos set up. We have to get out there and get moving. Like I said, it is possible. Like I said, reality time quakes happen. They do happen during the saving of planets. Typically it's Mandela effect type like stuff. Remember, so like prior to the crucifix of time. So I want to talk a little bit about the crucifix of time. Okay. And like I said, so that's where you will end up. Meaning that your chance of change has left the building. And as we get closer, like I said, and as we already have like reached the second horn, right? We've already reached the second horn, and it's like the Mandela effect. Okay, so this is like, so reality is just like a giant bubble, and it's like malleable, and it's like basically the Mandela effect like comes from when two realities collide. And it happens without, like I said, we just had a load of homeless people. 2025, somewhere between 2024 and 2025, it's usually when the second horn sounds. And like I said, we get this influx of people, Mandela people, from a worse dimension. And they all come in and they're like helpless. They're usually homeless. They're usually helpless. They're just people that are suffering they're suffering punishment, but not by no fault of their own. By no fault of their own. Because the apex of technology is simply, it's just too much of a struggle to expect people to fucking live a happy life, man. It's like we're missing so much. But yeah, so like I said, I don't exactly know how it worked, like I said, but like, yeah, so like that's when then the bubbles, and so that's basically, like I said, I want you to be on board, but this is an all for nothing ship. Okay, so like we already hit the crucifix of time when the first horn sounded, meaning that we will die by mismanagement. All right, and that's opposital to which the crux point was Trump's election. Now, if Kamala would have won, it would have been a fucking it would have been a different worse ending. Likelihood statistic. So so like I said, we're already past the crucifix. We got one chance to save this, but that's what the Mandela effect is. It's different realities that are pretty close, but they're all running the same dimension, and they just kind of like, and now here we are. And now here we are. So the point is, we want to alter it so that we can reach the future we desire. Now, if there's some other whack job out there that has a different future for us to go to, like I said, Infinity United is the government of the Milky Way. Okay? So like, if we want to be a part of our galactical enterprise, we have to adopt it. We have to adopt it. And if we do this right, we might be able to like warp into the future a little bit. Okay? But what'll happen is, if we can get this down, like I said, we will be living in heaven on earth. So it's like, that's it. Thank you. Like I said, I'm just Truvian. This is the Infinity United podcast, coming in from Jetruvian HQ. If you are a Jetruvian, raise a hand, take a stand, and go build something in your community. And then later on, tell me what you built. We're going to get it organized. There'll be a nice little spot for it. And you might be able to help us try to create enough surge in order for that quake to happen. Thank you, and have a great day. That means we got 5 years to give the whole world internet. Get them all running water. Bare requirement. We got to get that electrical field running around the surface of Etwa. It's all components to the fucking timequake. We gotta move, people. We are militarily building the third world. We're going and laying down roads, laying down sewage, laying down electricity. Where's the capital? Find it. Okay? Work with each other. Yeah, we can loan you 400 fucking whatchamacalls. Give us the diagram. I want the U.S. military in charge of this. Okay, we have major importance. Major importance. Okay, major importance. We gotta get these industrial rivers through Africa. We gotta make that areas of India habitable, as well as South America and Mexico. Those are my 4 target areas. Okay? America, you are worried about, like I said, if you don't, like I said, if you don't have a job, hop on the convoy. It's a 6-month tour. It's fine. You're gonna go use a Bobcat. If you never used one, you'll learn. Alright? But we're gonna do it so that we can put our fucking name on it and say that it got done right. Because we're not loaning out $700 billion for it to not get done in time. We're gonna try our best. Because we're, you know what I'm saying, highly trained or whatever. So, like I said, all we need is the permission to get over there and do it. We have one giant river from just below Egypt, cutting through the fucking, just below the Sahara, above the Safari. That's our target point for fresh water in Nairobi. And just below the Congo, we have a another industrial river with a dam from stretching across the continent. From the Indian Ocean to the other side of the Congo, with 3 converging major lines going down the Cape. Okay? We have 4 major industrial rivers going up from the United Arab Emirates up around the up right between the Mediterranean through Iraq in there. That's the most fertile soil in the world. That is the most fertile soil in the world. And the best part is we can use Sahara sand to nutrientize them. That might be inaccurate. The bottom line is that we will be redistributing fucking planetarily. And everybody's going to have we're going to get you set up. You got the rain, everything else. Rain is the first thing we got to make. We can get the chemical composition of the soil afterward. See where we need to go take from. Okay, we need some stuff from Peru. They got in abundance. Alright, we're just dumping out farm fields. What I got planned over there in the Middle East is wash fields out in the plains. You guys are going to be some serious super producers. And like I said, that's all AI autonomous jobs. And then I got some genetically modified seafood eats seaweed. So we're about to stock you guys up with some sweet new fishing jobs. That's post time warp stuff. But like I said, worst case scenario, we set this up. I go get the system, and we don't have enough fucking people on board to make a quake happen. There is the off chance possibility that only part of the world will experience it. So we really, really, like I said, this has never been conducted on video. Like I said, this is just Drew coming in and laying out the game plan. Thank you. But the bottom line is if you listen and help out, you're already on your way to heaven on earth. So it's something to look forward to. It's something to be excited about. We might be able to warp there. So even if we don't, like I said, it's an 8-year warp. Well, that was my best warp, and that's with this method implored, and I want to see it happen. Okay, I want to see it happen. I want my mom to see it happen. I want my dad to see it happen. This is my home. I don't give about no different dimension. What can that do me? Because the reality is it can't do nothing. Having the knowledge of this stuff doesn't do you a damn good thing. We either get to see it for ourselves, or we slowly just fucking like watch ourselves TV to death and fucking, or like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and like healthy living is what life's about. But there's nothing to fucking do out there. And it's like, Infinity United changes that. So obviously I guys told you about my website, infinityunited.info. All these videos are going to be posted up on there. You guys can go ahead and donate. Like I said, I'm still working HVAC all day long, and then I come home and all night long I'm working on setting up this website. I have no money. Like I said, I've been for the last 8 years fighting darkness and expelling demons. So like I said, I come to you today as like a sinner that took a vow not to do it again 8 years ago. And now I don't even believe I'm in over my head. Like I said, 6 months ago I would have said I could never handle this. But the reality is I am the leader that you want. I am the man for the job. And I've proven it time and time again. And it's about time that we experience some of the grace of God together. Because God knows I want to see it. When is God good? Right? For your everyday guy. Because right now, in the end, there's too many people that are screwed. And there's almost no solutions. So, I'll give you something to believe in. I'll give you some hope for tomorrow. I got just what you need. So you can go ahead and donate today. Like I said, I am running off donations here, people, and I'm fixing to get started on some setup stuff, some rudimentary setup stuff. Basically, my goal is for simply to create a template for individual communities to adopt, so that Jetruvians can basically begin to set this up. All it takes is a willingness to come forward and serve. And like I said, never step over, break, or cross anybody along the way. We play above board by the rules of today. I don't want problems with America. Okay? All we are doing is giving our private monies to the state. But not by taxation, but rather by gift of installation. This is a public couch zone. It might be some old manor I bought. There's a couple different activity clubs that run out of it. Okay? You create it. Couch zones are wonderful. People like to just go out and sit in a cool room without having to pay for it. That's what people like doing. Let's go out and find some couch zones, baby. Sure, yeah, let's see if we find any other couples out there. So I will create the templates for communities to adopt. Like I said, you can check out my website. That's infinityunited.info. Okay? You can Cash App me at cash money sign JUTRUVIAN. That's hashtag Jetruvian. Like I said, and I will begin to set up some templates that any peoples of America would like to sign up for. All you have to go do is find your local template. You can find out other members that are willing to step forward, and like I said, you guys will be in charge of. Basically, you will become in the future after we adopt Infinity United. You guys will hold the honor of having stepped forward when it was just a voice over the airwaves. But you will be essentially men who saw the truth in what I say and understand the need for it. This is about our children's quality of life. Okay? This is about our quality of life. Okay? So how it's going to go down is on these templates, pretty much local governments that are in charge of improving and approving different features inside of their localities. If they are true believers, if they are Jetruvians, they can go ahead and register on there. And then the men who are business owners, who are capable of installation, they may also sign up on there. And it will create a network of a working network, local working network, for the installation of what we want our community to look like. Remember, we pretty much leave elementary schools where they're at and just open them up. Public works guys go in there and clean them up and stuff. Custodian, all that still runs, but they're just not running. And then, like I said, they are open to the moms and dads to take their kids to at any time. So it might be 3 or 4 hours a day. Let's go. It's like, let's go learn. If they so decide to do that. Like I said, boarding school picks up. They're expected to know how to read and write. Boarding school picks up at age 7. After that, like I said, it's basically computerized lessons with a chaperone. And the chaperone's job is to make sure that the lesson is understood by the class. Can you tell me what that means? How about you? Does anybody know any other practices where that can be applied? We fully understand the lesson that the 7th grade computer gives us. We fully understand the lesson that the 8th grade computer gives us. So the computer will have the teaching on deck. The teacher will make sure that the students learned it. Now at the college level, that's ages 16 plus. At the college level, at 16 to 21, learning is a little bit different. We already know pretty much everything up to a 10th grade education. And learning is up to us at that point. Most of it is digital, most of it is creative. Like I said, there's in all those fields, like I said, it's like the reasons that like molecular science and biology are dying fields is because there's just no applicational use to them. But what we're going to be doing is, like I said, after the adoption, so our job is to get the base groundwork set up. So that as soon as I get the system, we can go ahead and attempt the quake. If not, like I said, worst case scenario is that everything's signed up and we're ready to go. Just like that, it's over. So you guys are going to be learning about how it works. Just stay tuned in. Like I said, it's a simple thing. Like I said, we keep them in a controlled area of town. Current colleges will become the epicenter of the 15 to 21-year-olds. Okay? And I keep switching that number between 15 and 16 because boarding school kind of overlaps a little bit. So, like, really most of their 15th year is off. It's like 3/4 off. They're starting up good at about, like, 15 going on 16 at that dormitory. But like I said, they learn, like I said, they learn how to live in Infinity United from ages 15 to 21. They practice it. So yes, I can just travel to the other side of town, right? My high school might be based out of Georgia State, or my high school might be based out of Georgia Tech. And all we're doing is converting those laboratories into creative labs with independent study halls. And if you want to go learn something in that field, all you have to do is spend time there and learn. Like I said, the dormitories will be exclusively for women, whilst houses will go to the boys. The women will stay there until they've reached their age of purity. And men will continue, and then they're allowed to travel out. So at 18, women get the same privileges as the men. We do that for their safety, as well as female adult bonding. So so they do stay inside the dormitories, and then at 18, they are allowed the same privileges as the boys. However, the boys have a 3-year head start. So, but nonetheless, like I said, local businesses will pretty much do their hiring there. So it's a youth center of town. It's a youth center of town. Really, really easy convergence. All we pretty much do is, like I said, got to get it ready for when it happens. And like I said, there's going to be things like, he's taking off to the moon. He'll be back in 6 days. Everybody get ready. You know, blah, blah, blah. So he'll be back with the software and it'll be live. You know, and then it's just a matter of remembering everything that we've done, all the hiking trails we pimped out, and then put in all the cliffs, all the hot springs, all the nature preserves, all the small zoos. There's a goat zoo. Like, oh shit, do we just stumble upon like a goat zoo? Like, you know, it's like, and these are jobs that will go onto the job mecca. So everything, like I said, that cataloging it is the, like I said, learn your construction and catalog it. Remember, on the job mecca, like I said, the registration on the job mecca is all comprehensive. Meaning, what employees do you have and what do they do? So if you have a small, like, goat thing going on and it requires 2 people, you sign yourself up. Yeah, we intake fucking seed, and then we clean up shit. And we care for the animals. And we need to take care of our families. So this is the number we got on it right now. Like I said, once everything is organized, stuff like that gets easier. We got the route drivers, you know, dropping off to mini farms. The supplies they need, and stocked parks. This one's full of iguanas. Or whatever the fuck. We don't do too much. Don't do too much of that. Like I said. So like I said, it is a comprehensive, so the job mecca will turn into your job mechanism. And this is for stuff, like I said, and local businesses will be the last to sign up here. Okay, franchises, all the stuff that we can connect directly to the Infinity House apparatus, that's what signs up first. Local businesses are still local businesses. And like I said, what they are there for is for the high school registration. Let me think, hang on. Like I said, it's in its infancy. My website is just getting started. So you very well might not even see it online yet. I think I just finished up the homepage. I'm not, the greatest with computers. But if you guys could just somehow figure a way out to donate to me, I might be able to get some federal funding. Like I said, I'm still a human, and all I've ever done is shit for God. And as I construct the world, I'd like, I've been homeless, helping people in the struggles, suffering tribulation. I'd like to not only go back and bless them for taking care of me while I was prepared for my position. It was not an easy road, but like I said, it was forged by everyday people that really couldn't afford to house somebody and look after them as so many people have for me. Um, so in the next, like I said, it's gonna take at least 5 years to develop that dark energy core, as well as the lit Q liftoff. But like I said, we're gonna get there with no oil burned. So we got to get this thing prepared. Militarily, like I said, I can draw out the design of Earth for the big boys up at the head of state. It'll probably have to be the at something like a Bilderberg meeting or something like that. That was the original plan. I was kind of like, how should I make my debut? And I just don't know how. I can't even justify doing music with time being as pressing as it is. But to be absolutely clear, if this message goes viral, then we no longer have anything to fear. Now, I do not have those templates made for Jetruvian activists. And this single message here is probably enough to get me to Donald Trump's office. So, like I said, I want it to be just a website that you can download a template for. And, like, if you are, for instance, a subdivision of Milwaukee County, you might just adopt it. This is us. This is West Dallas, or this is Wauwatosa. And then anybody can just go to Jetruvian HQ /Wauwatosa and see what they are developing there. So the boarding school apparatus is absolutely critical, and it's simple to construct. All we need to do is restructure the plan of where those kids will be headed. Get all that stuff prepped out. Like I said, we cannot really move forward with the definitive thing until we get planted. Until we get our like I said, we will also be affording everybody the opportunity to change their last name. So you and your family have just been granted a plot of property that is yours to be responsible for, and you can receive and choose your new last name. A lot of us are going to be staying in the same communities. But that doesn't mean that those communities are going to look the same. Because in the next 5 years, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say, burn your house down. But we might have like a team of, forget I said that. Take that out of the script. But the bottom line is we want as much of a structure of new shit out there that